Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zanden, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome, beautiful souls, to a new episode of Soul Love. And today I have the honor to share sacred space with Moncef Afkir. And I'm very excited to share his story because I already see a lot of similarities in our path. But first I want to welcome you in this sacred space.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kim. I'm really happy to be with you and your audience here. Thank you.
Me too. And I'm very excited because it's my first Soul Love podcast again after my trip to Egypt. And you also live on the same continent. But have you ever been to Egypt before we dive into the beautiful story?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Want to, but still, I still didn't go.
Yeah. But I saw you're doing like sacred journeys to Turkey.
It was mainly just by myself.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I've been there for 14 months.
Oh, wow.
2021, 2022. Yeah.
Yes. There are so many powerful spaces and places around the world, but also within ourselves. So what I find interesting, and I think we have that in common, like you started your, let's say, your career path, but just your general career path as an engineer. I don't know what kind of engineer, but I studied architecture, so building structures and everything. So I can so relate to the engineering part. So I'm curious to learn more about that and how you end up where you are today, how you created a beautiful Own Your Uniqueness show and everything that your sacred mission you're birthing. So I don't know if you want to share a little bit about that and
absolutely. So my career started with engineering. I was an engineer in telecommunications and microelectronics.
Yes.
I worked in that field for 5 years and half. But at the same time, it's like spirituality, or before spirituality, I was mainly into self-help just because I felt I wanted to create something that I really want, something different, not just following the path that everyone follows. Yes. And also because, how to say, one of the themes that I've been experiencing here in this lifetime, it's more about self-worth and self-judgment. And also that helped me. It was also a big part of maybe going to spirituality and trying to learn and to connect more to myself. So in the beginning, it was just for me. I never expected I will be creating a service in that.
No.
And toward, how to say, maybe the last 2 years of my job, I felt I wanted to leave, but it was mainly like a reaction, like wanting to, just because I had an issue with my job, with my boss, etc. And it was more like running away. But each time I was either reminding myself or someone else, reminding me just to, when it will be the right time, I will just feel it. It will be, it will feel right. And that's what happened. Like the decision to leave, it was like really easy. I didn't need to think about it. It was just normal.
When
just
you know it,
decision.
You know it. Yeah. But then what I love about that story is that you took the decision from your heart and from your body, because probably your mind has all these things about it. Is it safe? And what am I doing? But it is knowing in every part. And that is what I love. Also, when I saw your story more, like, you consistently do that. And that's also what I share with people, with the beautiful souls I work with and I co-create with. It's like, it is following the sacred yeses of your body, not the limitations of the mind. And it's following the guidance that we feel true to be in our heart, even though it doesn't make sense. Because most of the time, okay, leaving your job, why would that make sense? But it is your heart that knows, even though you feel like my mission is not yet clear, you knew you were here to birth something new, to create something that was in alignment with your heart. And you just, you leaped for it. But how did that look for you from transitioning into, okay, I'm ready to say goodbye to my job, and then finding like your true calling and the path you are on? And I know it's an ever evolving journey, but
so in the beginning, it was like two parts. Like first, getting used to living with the unknown, because when I had a job, like I knew how much I will get in the end of the month, and it was all calculated. But then when I shifted the path, it was all unknown and just trying. And also like the surrounding, especially my family, also some friends who didn't agree with my decision. And for them, it was out of love, trying just to, how to say, make me live a safe life where I don't have those issues. Because for them, this is not, this is very unsafe path and very unknown. We don't know if it will work or not. So it was both, like, it was a little bit challenging, or maybe not just a little bit, but in the beginning, especially because for me, it felt like this is my life and I want to make my own decisions. So it was like, there was a time of being rebellious a little bit for some time.
I get that. But you need that, otherwise you don't you don't make a step like that. Then you keep thinking of it the rest of your life and you never leap. So you need the rebellious within you.
Like rebellion, it's for me, it creates, like, it's how to say, it helps to create the shifts, but after that we need more like building rather than rebellion.
It is.
And it's there where I understood that it's not about having everyone agree with my path. It's more about allowing them to express their feelings and also choose their own path. And at some points they may understand, may not, but what I saw in the end, like, that some of them really shifted and started to take choices that really honor themselves. Others, they just maybe respect more my choices, but in the end, we can still co-create and be together without maybe agreeing on the same thing. And it was a really beautiful experience to realize that love is beyond everything, every disagreement also.
It is.
And
it's also leading by example. Like, I know that not every journey is the same, and we all hold our own unique truth. But it's you holding on to your truth and really stepping in that space of, this is what I'm doing, and by that you can be the example for the rest. But everyone has its choice. And I think that is also what love does. What is also what I notice in my own journey. The more we embody that love, the more we can also let the rest of the world do what they want to do. And if they want to join you, they're free. But you can see the truth in everything. And you can also honor people in their own journey, in their own process, in their own... And I know also for myself, like, these journeys of stepping into this entrepreneurial space and stepping into a greater service that is not like, that is not fixed, that is not set. It is scary because you need to find the safety within yourself, because there is not an income coming in every month or every regular time and space. And you consistently need to, because that is also what, I don't know how that's for you, but for me, sometimes I also say to people that I co-create with, start your own business, because that is the most huge elevation you can take. Because if something is not working in my business or in my mission, my service, then it means something is within me. So it's a consistent invitation to look at myself and to elevate myself and to see, okay, what is being mirrored in a very big way, and how can I shift that, and how can I... So it's also, I don't know how that was for you, but it's also like the quick fixes don't work, because that will bring those solutions. We really need to go to the depth of our being with love to transform, to harmonize whatever is there, so that all of us can elevate and we can stand even more in service. But I'm curious also, when I listen to your story, like, how did you, what tools did you use to center yourself? Like making the step from being an engineer to saying goodbye to your job and going on this adventure that your heart wanted. Like, what did you do to not go into the safety mechanisms of your mind and consistently stay in your heart and center, even though it's scary and unknown?
So maybe what really helps me to stick with that is I had like a deep belief that this is what I want. I mean, like any other choice, it just for me, it was not worth it. It's more about focusing on what I really love and my passion. And also because because when I left my job, then I had a list of the things that I'm passionate about, and spirituality was number one.
Yes.
So I was already like investing time and money in it. And so it was easy for me to just step into that field. And it was also not about looking back and maybe if I took a different decision, different path, maybe it will be better. It was just focusing on, I took now the decision, so I focus on that, and that's all.
Beautiful.
And then being more flexible with time, like we can shift path and we can change things. And this is what happened, because in the beginning I started with a podcast called Manifested Happiness. And for me, it was more like a training and also feeling more comfortable showing up, because how to say, I really had like some deep self-worth issues. And in the beginning, I couldn't even like listen to my voice to edit the interviews. So but I kept doing that like for some time until I felt to create your divine uniqueness. And how to say, like the time I decided about that, it was at night. I felt like really excited. I couldn't sleep that night because it just felt right. This is what I wanted to do. And so then I prepared for it for 2 months before launching it. And also it happened at the same time that I went through a divorce, and also financially I wasn't doing really well because it was really difficult at that time. So I had to manage all of those. And what I was doing is when I felt this intense emotions coming to the surface, either I was going to, because we live close to the ocean, like 15 minutes. So just staying there and allow those emotions just to feel them and create space for them. And then after, when I feel better, then I start preparing and work. And then when I feel again intense, I create some space for myself. And also I was using some energy healing tools from other healers. That's also helped me through that process.
I get goosebumps, But there are so many gems in this, like you holding a clear vision, not per se on the 3D outline, but you had the vision of this is what I desire to create. And that is in my book, I share a little bit about your deep-rooted desires. And when they are deeply rooted, they can help you navigate any challenge, any change. Because that is also what I sometimes see in my surroundings, and also with the beautiful souls I work with. It's like, they consistently have all these buts, like this is not going good in my life and this is happening and I don't have time and I don't, and that can all be true. But what I think empowering is in your story, like in the moment you launched the divine uniqueness, you were in a divorce, you were financially challenged, but still you kept your deep desire there and still you navigated and followed your heart. Because it's so easy to then fall back in old patterns and to then fall back into safety mechanisms, but you knew there was something bigger. And that is what I love about this story. And then using nature, when you shared about the ocean, it feels like a magical place because I get goosebumps everywhere on my body. But that is beautiful. Like sometimes we think that these transitions, these tools, they need to be something very magical, and we need to set a stage of an hour, and then but sometimes it can be so as profound as going to the ocean and giving ourselves time to allow our emotions to express, giving ourselves time to. So I love that, because there is huge wisdom in that. We are so been taught to push away our emotions and to neglect what we are feeling. But if we give them time and space, they shift easily, they don't become blocks, and we can elevate. Because that's what, each time I do that as well, like the moment I feel resistance and I take a moment to really be with it and use my different methodologies to harmonize them, inspiration comes up and suddenly I can create much quicker. But most of the time we are on a deadline and we think, no, I need to push through, and then I get free time. So there are so many gems in this short share of you that I think will help a lot of people that also feel a calling to create.
Yeah, absolutely. And also it's, how to say, maybe we see it as making effort in the beginning, but it's more about getting used to that energy, because it's like, how to say, it's like on a bicycle or car, like the first when we started, like it feels like there is more effort, but after that it becomes more easier and flows more naturally.
That's the building of momentum. Like
Right.
first
Yes,
you have a lot of
exactly.
resistance, and then it moves, and it flows with because it already has momentum. I love that. Yeah. But how are you navigating like now? What are you doing to consistently realign yourself and hold your vision and hold whatever you desire to create?
Yeah, for now, how to say, it's what helps me. It's more like, again, like being in nature and also being more flexible, and also reminding myself that I'm always supported on my path, even though like things sometimes feel like unstable, or we don't know what will happen in the future. And because I've been seeing like in the past that I've been guided along the way, like everything that's happened, it was on the right timing, on the right place. And if I try to control everything and to plan everything exactly as I wanted, it could be like a very challenging experience. Yeah, and for me, it happened like for example, the past 3 years. I was traveling, like my plan was to travel 6 months in Asia and then come back to my country, Morocco. But then the pandemic happened, they closed my country, etc. So I spent almost maybe 3 years or 2 years and 8 months outside, and I was traveling around maybe different few countries, and every time I felt guided either to move to a different country or place. It was the right timing because the situation changed in that country where I was. Maybe it became more challenging, and for me it was, how to say, there was some unknown. There were some challenges because like everyone, but also when I see the big picture, it was, how to say, I had like some maybe the most interesting experiences I had in my life so far, and it was really awakening and interesting. And also I had with the different new discoveries, and also I didn't experience like either lockdown or anything of that. So it's, but and for me, when I see that, it's more about just trusting my heart and the guidance that I receive. Because even though there is chaos around us, we still can create what there is always a path where we can experience maybe better experiences, or maybe have maybe better life in general. It's not about the environment, it's more about aligning with our hearts.
Yeah, and the choices we have to see things the way we want them to see, or that align with our heart. I love that. Can you share something about a magical experience you had on your journey, or what was something that's really sparked you, or that you were guided to, that you not were preparing with your mind, but that suddenly came on your path and you felt like it?
It's more because for me in nature, I love mountains. It's I just feel something special toward them. And in Turkey, they have some really amazing mountains, and I was spending maybe a couple of weeks there, and there, how to say, at some point I felt like maybe there's a connection with more Pleiadians at that time. But also I was having some doubts, like maybe I'm just making this up. So it was like, how to say, is it real or not? Is the guidance or the feeling real or not? So I took some time about that, trying to explore that when I was there, and also after that. And then also how to say, I received some mentorship from Erika Van Eaton. So she guided me through that, and also to have more trust in that connection and bring and share it through a service that I did after that. And also in the beginning, because I was still in doubt, how to say, maybe I tried to start with something small. Just before the interviews I did, I was doing just 10 minutes, maybe meditation or journey, just for me to feel more comfortable with that and to have more trust. And so I felt like it was the right thing, and I started doing my own full healing sessions, like for groups. I don't do one-on-one.
Yeah.
And really after when I started, I really received some amazing feedback. I didn't expect that,
Yes.
like what the audience experienced and the healing they experienced. So it was really amazing. And yeah, I've been doing that now for a year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels, for me, the shift, it was like stepping into something very new, but also, how to say, very fulfilling, and also it brings some more joy for myself when I do those
I get
sessions.
that. Yeah.
Mm.
But it is also, as you shared earlier, like when you started your podcast to get more confident, it is
Yeah.
beautiful that it is in stretching ourselves. In we
Yeah.
like our heart is calling us to do something. And yes, it is scary each time.
Yeah.
And yes, but we learn through saying yes. We learn through the experience, through doing it. And also as you shared, like with the group sessions and with trusting, like sometimes we get downloads and then
Yeah.
immediately our mind tries to think, okay, but where's the proof? How does this work? How does this look like? What do I need to do with it? Who am I to share this with the world? But then it's again coming back to our heart. And it's beautiful that then our beautiful souls around you that can mentor you and support you in that process. But it is getting confident in really being in that space of receiving and sharing that with the world. And I think especially, and I also love it how you shared it in many different ways, but it is, you share it in your whole, like the Divine Uniqueness show. It's like, it is our uniqueness that we're here to share. And yes, it can be co-creating with the beings of light and many different forms, but it is also our embodiment. It is also us being in our heart, sharing our vibration. And that is for me, especially since I'm back from Egypt, like the playing between, yes, there's so much in words. So we are now sharing a conversation in words for beautiful souls to understand. But there is also a very powerful energy transmission happening behind the words that is even sometimes more powerful than the words we speak, because sometimes in words there's a loss of translation and a different way in receiving. So that is, and that's what I love as well, as you shared, like also with doing group sessions and things like that. It is you showing up with your vibration, with your embodiment of your uniqueness that creates the change. And it is then people tuning in if they're aligned with that and if they're ready to receive the fullness of that vibration, of that field of love, of whatever, the intention is. But I think it's sometimes a difficult thing, especially in this space. For I don't know how that's for you, but for me as an entrepreneur, I see the changes, the powerful changes and transformation that happens when I co-create with people. But how do I put that on the words? Because the most things that are happening in the unseen realms. They happen in the softness, in the not spoken words, in the transmissions. And then it's also like, who am I to share other people's experiences? Because it's so sacred, it's theirs. But how do you then do it as an entrepreneur? I don't know how you do that, but that's since Egypt, I witnessed again so much profound things that I feel like, how do you share that? How do you
Yeah, for me, like being an entrepreneur, it's really, how to say, it's one of the best spiritual journeys that we can take.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
Because first, it brings everything that we try to hide. It brings them to the surface, those fears and maybe traumas, and also when we create space for that, for those traumas, for those fears, and trying to not to fight them, but just to help to transmute them. How to say, it's also in our business, we see that reflecting by maybe an expansion or shifting a path whenever there is a shift happening within. So it's like a reflection of what is happening within. And also, I think you also talked about that. That's because it's unknown. We don't know how we can navigate this path. And for me, like, we don't need to know everything in advance. Like, for example, for the show, Your Divine Uniqueness, when I started this, I didn't do a training on that because at that time, I couldn't pay for that. So I tried to see what others were doing.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't know everything, it was more like when I started to contact the speakers, and then we connected to talk about the interviews, and then like those informations that I needed, they came through them without me asking.
Yes.
So I got all what I needed along the path. Once I started, like everything became more and more clear. So we don't need to know everything in advance.
No.
That's very
And
important.
that's what now sparks, and that's for me as well. When I start something, I just say yes, and then I walk the path, and everything I need will come, or I ask, or whatever. It unfolds in the moment we say yes. But what's suddenly sparked when you were sharing that is like the moment we say yes from the heart. Yeah. It doesn't need to be perfect, and that because the creation from the mind needs to be perfect at once. But the creation from the heart is a learning process. And suddenly that kicked in as you shared. And it's the same with you starting your first podcast. Also for you to learn to express yourself more, get confident with hearing your own voice. But it doesn't have to be perfect, because it's not about the perfection. It is about the experience, about the elevation, about the growth that we get to experience and share with others. So yeah, somehow that's spark. But I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And that's again with it's saying yes. And the moment we say yes, the next puzzle piece will come, and the breadcrumbs will reveal itself. And I think also the power is within not knowing the whole plan or the whole step plan or whatever, because then we try to control things and we try to fix things, and it is just saying yes and then allowing the divine to co-create through us and with us. And I love that.
Absolutely. And many times like the mind trying to understand like the purpose of everything we do in advance, but it's okay, because sometimes we fall into that, but when like from time to time it can be very helpful to remind ourselves to maybe be more open, because when we create that space and be more open, we can be really surprised by the things that we can experience in life, or the things that we can receive. And also like for me, like also when I started following my heart, I stepped into maybe creating my podcast, then Your Divine Uniqueness. And at the time I had other dreams also. I wanted to travel, but I couldn't at the time. And also I was at the time learning guitar, but I gave up on it for many years because I didn't find, because I love the flamenco style, and I didn't find at that time teachings online, and because of my job I couldn't travel for a long time. But so I gave up on it for many years, and then when I had the opportunity to travel abroad for a long time, the first time I went to Europe for 3 months, then I thought, let's give it a try and see what happens.
Yes, then the time was aligned.
And then it opened another path. It's really exciting, and I'm happy.
That's beautiful. And what other path did it open? Like you starting to play music again? And
I went to Seville, so I took 1 month private classes, and that changed everything. Like I understood how it works, and since then I think 3 or 4 years I'm practicing and seeing like really big improvements. And also with travel, because I never thought I would be able to travel for almost 3 years and visiting different countries, meeting different people and cultures. For me, it was just maybe traveling for 1 week, 2 weeks maximum, and then coming back. So I always felt limited by that. And then, I could do that. It was really, really exciting. What to say?
Beautiful. Yes. Yeah. So many sparks and gems.
Yeah. And also it helps to be open to accept the differences, especially when you see different cultures, you connect with different people, because you see like the same exact thing in a part of the world means something totally different in another part. So you see it's more just cultural thing, but in the end, like we are the same. We can, if we accept those differences and we don't judge each other, we can really find a place of love where we can connect with each other.
It truly is. And there's so much love and beauty all around the world, if you in so many ways, but it's just being open. But I think just in general, traveling or going to other places, it opens you, because somehow you're more aware of the now moment. You're more aware of somehow the wonders and the beauty. But even though in our own home space there's also wonder and beauty, but then most of the time we're more taken by everything that we need to do. And when we travel, we're so much, all our senses are open, and all our adventure are saying yes, and then beautiful people and places come on our path. So that's amazing. And I truly believe, I also seen it in my own journey and others, it's like the moment we say yes and the moment we're willing to leap, the universe aligns and magical things open up. Everything is possible. We need to believe in ourselves and love ourselves enough to say yes, and to also receive from the universe in beautiful ways.
Yeah.
If there's one more thing you would like to share as an empowering closing, what would it be to everyone tuning into this sacred conversation?
Yeah, maybe how to say, when you step into your own path, when you start following your hearts, you may feel, how to say, different than others. And in those moments, you may have some doubts, especially when everyone around you see you as doing something wrong. It's not that you are doing something wrong, but it's more like how to say, a time where you really build more trust, more confidence in your own choices. Because walking our unique path, sometimes it feels like being different, feels like being alone. It's normal. But when you do that, like, it really opens up many paths for you, many doors for you, and also give an example to others of what is possible. Because it's really, how to say, it needs courage to do that, but also it needs love and trust in yourself. And that's something that you don't need to have in the beginning, like full trust. It's okay that you have doubts, but it's something that you build as you walk your path. And it's okay if you fall sometime and then you stand up and you walk again. So it's a normal thing.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Yeah. And it is the resilience. It's not about only going up. No, we learn through.
Right.
And not being afraid to be alone, because it is sometimes a lonely journey, because we are pioneering. We're paving a new way. We're creating a new earth, and we're brave enough to sometimes step out of the collective, and that can be lonely, but it's also the most fulfilling and rewarding and the most magical journey. And that's what I also hope to share with these Soul Love podcasts. Like, we're all unique, but we also every one of us go through our own things, and we all have moments where we feel scared and uncertain, and where we feel like now it's enough. But then we refine and redefine ourselves, we realign, we come back to love and come back to our mission we feel called to do in our hearts. And then it's again having that deep desire, having that anchor point of this is where I want to go, and you can navigate whatever comes on your path. So thank you for sharing this sacred conversation, sharing your light and your message. And if you want to know more about Moncef, you can find his information below this audio or video. And I want to thank everyone tuning into this conversation, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one. So everyone, much love, and see you next time. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.